It's early August now. These are cuttings I took from the jostaberry and the currants. They're doing pretty good. These are cuttings I took from some elderberry plants, and I will be planting these berries around the property in the fall and early October. So these barrels, blue barrels, I took cuttings in early spring of the Reliance and Concord grapes, and I sold most of them, and here's some that are left over, so I'll probably be giving these away to a few of my friends. And if you look at this raised bed that had the jostaberry and the currants, the jostaberry, I cut them down here, but they grew about 2.5 feet more just within a few months. And I will be taking cuttings from the black currants and the red currants soon. So in this raised bed, these are the sugar babies. I decided to grow them in one of the raised beds, and they started to produce a lot of little baby watermelons. There's probably at least 40 to 50 of them. So since there are a lot of them, I'm probably going to pick off and throw away at least 20 or more, and maybe only keep about 25. Because if you have too many baby watermelons, then they won't get as big, and you only want about 20 to 25 that are good size. So in this raised bed is the Thai chilies. Every year I grow Thai chilies, and it looks like they're doing pretty good. Most of them are especially on the bottom, they're starting to turn red. And within this raised bed, I'm also growing pawpaws in containers. They're doing pretty good. In between the leaves, it's starting to sprout. These are going to be branches, so it's going to be, it's starting to do pretty good. I'm going to plant the pawpaws all around the old man's property, probably in early October, so a few more months for them to grow and leaf out more. So if you look at the Thai chilies, they're doing pretty good, and the old man helped me by staking them up as well, because sometimes they'll fall over, especially with all the rain that we've been getting. But with the chili peppers, you can actually eat them green or red. It's just a preference. I think my mom likes them red because she likes the color red in some of her dishes. So in this raised bed, I'm growing some entertainment tomatoes. These are Better Boys, and the reason why I'm growing Better Boys is because they're disease resistant and they actually do pretty well. They grow a lot of clusters of 4 or 5 tomatoes, but with the clusters, when I see them, if there's 4 or 5, I'll pick up 2 or 3 and just keep 2 or 3 or 1 tomatoes, because the more tomatoes you have, the less good that it will do. That's why I only want it just like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 tomatoes. So the next raised bed, I have eggplants. I have the Black Beauty, and these are Millionaire eggplants. So these are similar to like the Japanese Ichiban eggplants. I think my mom picked all the eggplants probably yesterday or the day before. So there's only little smaller ones that are starting to grow up, but the Millionaire's eggplant is probably 1.5 feet taller than the Black Beauties. So these 4 containers here are Sun Gold cherry tomatoes, which is my favorite tomatoes because they actually taste really good. They're really sweet and they're not acidic like some of the tomatoes are. These right here are cuttings that I took from 4 more varieties of grapes, which I'll go into more detail in a different video. This raised bed is pickling cukes that I grown, and it's my mom and my sisters have picked the cucumbers probably for about 2 or 3 weeks. So this coming weekend I'm probably gonna take apart the little trellis and pull up all the cucumbers and replant them again. I actually have some cucumber transplants that I started a few weeks ago that I will transfer into this raised bed. So these 3 plastic containers have yellow squash, and I grew yellow squash this year because my mom wanted to have some in the garden. So these containers in a raised bed are all zucchini. They're starting to die, so I'm probably gonna pull them up and I'm gonna plant some snow peas in this area here. So next in these containers are the Malabar spinach that I started, and I wanted to plant them in the plastic barrels again like I did last year because they did pretty well. They're starting to do really good, and you can tell that they're starting to have the side shoots, which is really a really good sign. And the side shoots grow from the leaves, so those are the ones that you'd want to, when they get bigger, you want to pick off and eat. And you want the main shoot to climb up, but all the side shoots you can pick off and use for any of your dishes. This is one of my mom's favorite vegetables, Malabar spinach. So this is the water spinach. This is it's starting to come up again. I've harvested about 2 times, so next week I'll harvest it again. This is more zucchini. I'm probably going to pull these up and maybe plant some more, plant some snow peas here as well, or maybe even long beans. So this is the mini kabocha, and these are the mango melons. There's 3 containers of them. Looks like they're starting to climb. And this is the buttercup squash on this side, and on the other side is the winter melon. So it looks like they're starting to climb all the way to the top. And in the black containers here, that's loofah. I have 3 containers of that, and then 5 white plastic barrel containers are all loofah. So they're starting to climb up the arbor and trellis that I built, and this is what it looks like. And then these are the gray containers that I took some of the water spinach out of the other barrels because they were just getting overcrowded. So with the loofah, you want to make sure that the fruit hangs down so it's more uniform. So like this one, I'll just push it down so it can start growing downwards. So the trellis area is about 20 feet by 40 to 45 feet. So this is the lemongrass. It looks like it's growing really well. Probably double or triple. The stalks basically are starting to split and divide and grow pretty well. And the ginger, they're starting to do really good. They're coming up, and which means that it's probably growing really good down below. That's the okra. It's starting to leaf out really good. So the biggest reason why I wanted to build a trellis and arbor like this is so we get shade in the garden, and most of these plants, they like to grow. So they like to grow up something, and I wanted my mom and my dad to be able to walk underneath and pick all the vegetables. And you know, it's nicely shaded from the hot sun as well, so that's one of the biggest reasons why I built this big arbor. So this is the loofah that I pushed down, so I want it to hang down like that. And they're starting to produce a lot of flowers. All the vines, like this is the winter melon, and it's doing good, but for the most part I just let it climb upwards, and once it gets to the top it'll start to fruit down. So within another month, probably by the end of August, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more fruit. And I just let it do its thing. So this is the winter melon and buttercup squash, and I see a lot of buttercup squash everywhere, and it's growing, you know, it's almost at the top. These are the mango melons. I haven't seen any fruit on them, but I've seen a lot of flowers. So with the buttercup squash, if you know, you can find them everywhere, and they even grow inside the cages that I put for them to climb. And basically, you know, there's probably at least 30 or 40 of them right now that I've noticed walking around. So with any pumpkin, or you know, squash like buttercup squash or zucchinis or pumpkins, you can actually eat the flowers as well. So my mom will pick some of these flowers off and she'll cook it with her eggs in the morning. So with the kabocha squash, I actually thought they're vines that would grow upwards, but they're actually a bush. So these are what the mini kabochas look like. They're the size of your palm, basically. So I was actually a little bit disappointed that these kabochas are not climbing ones, which I thought they were, because when I got the seeds, they said they were climbing ones, but they're not climbing ones. They're actually bush kabochas. So which is okay. I'll probably keep some so I can have the seeds, but you know, I won't be building anything for it to climb upwards and connecting the wood or the tomato cages with the big arbor, because these are not climbing kabocha. So these are the okra, Clemson spineless okra, which I grew a couple other varieties, but these are actually the better ones, I think, because they don't have the spines on them, so they're not going to prick you. This arbor, again, I just wanted to say that it's 20 feet by 40 feet or 45 feet. Those are the top dimensions, and it's probably about 7.5 feet tall as well. And so all these okra, I'm probably gonna pull all the leaves off of them So in this area here is the old man's cucumber melon. They call it a cucumber melon. A cucumber is actually a melon. So there's hundreds, maybe even thousands different varieties of cucumbers. And these ones right here, they grow like 10 or 20 pounds. And you can actually, after they mature, you can pick them and keep them inside your house for many months or even years. So that's good. So this is a Japanese herb. Cilantro is starting to grow to seed. The old man planted more lemongrass in the back of his garden. This is similar to a holy basil. These are scallions or green onions. This is Chinese celery. My mom harvested some that's starting to grow back. So, and my mom decided to plant more water spinach there. So here's another picture of the cucumber melon. I'll make another video about these and explain more about it. I just have to talk to the old man and ask him why is he growing these, but he says that they're really popular. So these are holy basil, and this is more turmeric that's being grown in the back. This area here, where the tractor is, I'm gonna be putting more posts and wires so I can grow these grape cuttings. There's 4 more varieties that I'm growing. I started from cuttings. 3 green seedless, and a couple of other different ones, but I'll make another video of that. So this is basically what in early August what we're growing at Old Man Gardening. And the old man, he waters these vegetables every day. And that's basically it. Thank you for visiting.